A baby shower. August 18th. A newborn gets named Johnathan Jamall Porter Jr. And somewhere across Los Angeles, a mother of two watches a name her son already carries get handed over like a club wristband. The Shade Room confirmed the rename. What nobody clocked was the countdown that started the second that birth certificate ink dried. Because Jaidyn Alexis was going to hear about it. And Jaidyn Alexis does not do quiet. By the way, if you're the type who pauses videos to screenshot the Instagram stories, smash like, subscribe, hit the bell. Part 2 of this is already loading, trust. Alright, cold facts first. Nevaeh Akira, Blueface girlfriend, welcomed their son, Johnathan Jr., on August 18th, per Complex, with whack 100 publicly involved around the birth. Jaidyn Alexis, Blueface's first baby mama, mother of Javaughn and Journey, responded within days with a livestream tirade that torched Nevaeh, Blueface, and the entire financial architecture of that Canyon Country operation. The which here? A middle name, a junior suffix, and a word Blueface said on camera that you don't walk back. Replaceable. Now watch how this actually unfolded. And before we get into the receipts, understand the geometry of the room. This is happening in Blueface, legal name Johnathan Jamall Porter, has spent the better part of 5 years turning his personal life into the actual product. Not the music, not the Thoshiana residuals, the life, the live streams, the confrontations, the paternity confessions, the on-camera arguments in kitchens and driveways and hotel lobbies. That's the catalog. That's the monetized engine. So when a name gets handed to a newborn on August 18th, it isn't just a family decision, it's a product launch. And every product launch has a launch calendar. And every launch calendar has collateral damage on the release week. In this case, the collateral damage was 2 kids who already carry the name. That framing matters because it's the only way to read what happens next without getting lost in the noise. This is not a soap opera bleeding into a rap career. This is a rap career that transitioned into soap opera as a business model. And then the soap opera outgrew the rap career. And now the family is the label roster. Whack 100 shows up around the birth for a reason. Publicists don't sit ringside for a maternity ward. Managers do, when the baby is part of the IP. First voice up, Nevaeh Akira herself, on stream, trying to play peacemaker before Jaidyn's bomb went off. If we're going to involve the babies, we would love to. They think I'm the reason he doesn't see his kids. And that's the heartbreaking part. I don't like that. They're telling me to encourage you to go see your children. I ask about them. Reported across hot new hip-hop coverage of the family rollout. Read that again. She positioned herself as the reasonable one. The one asking about the kids. Okay. Notice the specific verb choice in that statement. Encourage. That's not neutral language. That's advocate language. That's someone framing themselves as the bridge rather than the barrier, which is a very specific PR posture to strike when the other mother, the one with 2 kids and a longer paper trail, is about to open her mouth on stream. Peacemaker positioning is the oldest move in the reality TV playbook. Get on camera first, speak calmly, use words like heartbreaking and love, and let the other party sound like the unstable one when they respond. It's not evil. It's just choreography. Anyone who's watched a Bravo reunion special can spot the stage marks. And here's the tell, the phrase, they're telling me to encourage you. Who is telling her? That passive construction lets a lot of unnamed parties into the sentence without naming any of them. Is it Blueface? Is it Whack 100? Is it a family member trying to run interference? Nevaeh, per that quote, is positioning herself as a conduit for a message from unnamed intermediaries. That's not a private mother speaking. That's a spokesperson. Then Blueface, in a clip that's been ricocheting across Instagram, laid out his co-parenting philosophy. And I use that word generously. Any female on this planet Earth that thinks that children do not need their father is a terrible mother. If you want them to only be your kids, bet you have them. I can just go find another and make some more kids. I don't got to price match and bargain with you. Price match. He said price match. About his children. Like he's comparing quotes on a fence installation. And really sit with that vocabulary for a second. Price match is retail vocabulary. It's the phrasing you hear at a big box store when a customer waves a competitor's flyer at a cashier. It's transactional, comparative. And this is the part that stings, replaceable. The whole grammar of that sentence assumes the object being priced is fungible, that the thing on the shelf is one of many. When you slot the word children into a price match construction, you have accidentally, or not accidentally, told the audience how the inventory is categorized in your head. Freudian slips don't usually come with this much punctuation. Also worth noting, this wasn't a whisper into a friend's ear at a bar. This was on camera, presumably on a live stream that had a viewer count and a chat scrolling past his face in real time. He watched himself say it, watched the chat react to it, and, per the follow-up coverage, did not walk it back. Silence after a line like that is an accident. It's positioning. Then Jaidyn Alexis went live, and the temperature in Los Angeles went up 10 degrees. My kids are replaceable. I know you're not talking about Javaughn and Journey. You better hope on your last day that you're not talking about Javaughn and Journey. My kids will never be replaceable. You tried to replace them with that last baby. Look how that turned out. Documented in the Shade Room's breakdown of the exchange. And she didn't stop there. No female that's getting knocked out on Hollywood Boulevard can talk to me. I don't talk to people like you. You're a bum. You're a loser. Wild. That's a body blow reference to Nevaeh's public street footage. And Jaidyn knows exactly what she's doing with it. One more. Jaidyn on Nevaeh's Peacemaker act. She don't have to ever defend me. I don't need no defense. I'm my own team. We get over here. You want to take Javaughn's middle name. You're delusional. No reaction needed on that one. It speaks. But look at the structural choice in Jaidyn's counter. She refuses the frame. Nevaeh set the stage as reasonable mother trying to encourage a father. And Jaidyn does not step onto that stage. She doesn't respond to the peacemaker pose at all. She refuses the invitation to be positioned as the unreasonable half of a reasonable/unreasonable binary. Instead, she reframes the entire conversation. The middle name is not a peace offering, it's a taking. You want to take Javaughn's middle name. Present tense. Active verb. Predator/prey grammar. That's not a woman who got dragged into a stream unprepared. That's a woman who came in with thesis. And the Hollywood Boulevard reference. That's a scalpel, not a hammer. It doesn't name Nevaeh. It doesn't require Jaidyn to prove anything. It just lets the audience's memory do the work. Every viewer who's been on this internet for 6 months has already seen the clip. Jaidyn didn't have to describe it. She just had to summon it. That's the difference between talking about someone and invoking them. Rhetorically, it's the equivalent of pointing at a bruise instead of describing the punch. Now connect it. Because none of this started with the baby name. The name was just the match. Rewind. Blueface leaks a private video involving Jaidyn and Bravo. That's the origin wound by Jaidyn's own account. Co-parenting already complicated after that. Then July 21st, a swatting call hits Blueface Canyon Country home mid-live stream. Law enforcement swarms the place. He's detained on camera. And per reporting after the incident, Nevaeh allegedly told People Cuisine exposed the address. So the house itself is already a live wire before August even arrives. Let's slow down on the swatting for a beat, because the July 21st incident isn't just background context. It's the pressure test that everything else is standing on. According to the hometown station reporting, sheriff's deputies responded to a call at the Canyon Country residence while Blueface was allegedly mid-broadcast, which means a stranger caller weaponized a live stream in real time. That's not a random prank. That's someone who knew the address, knew the schedule, knew the medium, and knew that a broadcast in progress guarantees the response gets documented. Swatting is a very specific type of attack. It's designed to be witnessed. Whoever placed that call wanted a spectacle, not just a scare. Now consider what that does to a household. A woman in her 3rd trimester, a rapper on live stream, sheriff's deputies at the door, and, per the aftermath coverage, an internal accusation about who leaked the address. That accusation, allegedly landing on Cuisine, is itself doing work. It kicks the paranoia inside the family group. The house is no longer just a house. It's a coordinate. And the woman about to give birth in that house has been on camera identifying a suspect from within the extended family. The pregnancy, the birth, the naming, all of it lands inside a household that just watched itself get swarmed on a Sunday afternoon. That's the emotional weather that August 18th arrives in. Then actually hold on, back up. This part is the part. Nevaeh's son was originally going to be named something else entirely. Hot New Hip Hop reported she agreed to rename him Johnathan Jr., Blueface legal name, Johnathan Porter, reportedly after DNA test discussions. So the rename wasn't organic. It was allegedly negotiated. A name that overlaps with Jaidyn's son's name, attached to a junior title, handed to the newest baby. Sit inside that timeline for a second. Solo Porter, the reported original name, becomes Johnathan Jamall Porter Jr. somewhere between the DNA swab and the birth announcement. That is a renaming after paternity confirmation, which is a very specific kind of ritual. It's not a whimsy. It's a legal adjacent statement. It says, we needed a test to establish this, and now that the test has established it, we are stamping it in the most permanent public register available. A newborn's legal name is one of the few decisions that follows a person until they file paperwork to change it as an adult. Making it contingent on a test result is a way of saying the name itself carries the certification. Nevaeh's peacemaker framing gets harder to swallow next to that. If the goal was calm co-parenting, you don't select the one name in the entire English language that overlaps most directly with the older brother's identity. There are 1,000 names available. There are honorific alternatives. The dad's middle name alone, Jamall, is available as a first name. But no, the choice was Johnathan. The overlap was surgical. And per the hot new hip-hop timeline, it happened after the swab conversation, which means the rename is downstream of a paternity check, which means the name is doing paternity math out loud. And then Blueface goes on camera and calls the older kids replaceable days after the birth. As covered in the back and forth, he framed it as moved on, started a new family. The calendar collision here matters. Birth August 18th. Replaceable comments within days. Jaidyn's live stream response right behind it. That's not a feud drifting. That's a feud being stoked on a schedule. And when you say on a schedule, you have to say what schedule. Live stream ecosystems reward frequency and controversy. A streamer who drops a bomb on Monday, lets it marinate on Tuesday, and comes back for a reaction stream on Wednesday is running a 5-day content week. The midweek explosion is the retention loop. Blueface, price match, and replaceable comments dropping within days of Nevaeh's birth announcement isn't grief. It isn't fatherhood. It's a content plan. The birth announcement was the cold open. The replaceable line was the mid-episode twist. Jaidyn's response is the finale, and the algorithm rewarded every beat of it with a spike in impressions. That's not conspiracy talk. That's just how these platforms work. Ask any creator who's ever tried to grow a channel through a lull. The uncomfortable question, then, did the schedule shape the words? Because replaceable is not a slip. It's a headline. It's designed to be quoted. It's designed to travel. When a father with 3 children calls 2 of them replaceable in the wake of a live-streamed birth, he has produced a piece of content that will be quoted in every article, every thumbnail, every reaction stream for weeks. That's not a mistake. That's copy. Zoom in on one word. Official. Blueface reportedly described Nevaeh's son as his first official junior. One adjective. But that adjective is a legal coded signal. It implies documentation, legitimacy, an heir designation. Javaughn already exists. Already carries the name. Official is doing inheritance politics in a single syllable. And Jaidyn heard it exactly that way. Because think about what official always modifies. Official statement. Official document. Official successor. Official is the word that separates informal from legal, gossip from record, rumor from truth. When official gets stapled to a junior designation, it's not a term of endearment, it's a status designation. It's saying, this one is the certified version, which, by grammatical necessity, implies the other one is not. Javaughn, same last name, same father, same DNA per every prior public statement, becomes, in that single adjective, the unofficial version. That is not language you drop, by accident, when the mother of your first 2 kids is watching your Instagram live from across town. That is language you deploy. And Jaidyn heard it as inheritance politics, because inheritance politics is literally what that vocabulary is from. Wills, estates, monarchies, family businesses, these are the fields where official heir and official successor appear. It's the grammar of primogeniture ported into a live stream. Whether Blueface consciously intended that or not is beside the point. The audience hears what the audience hears, and Jaidyn is not the only viewer picking up on it. Every relative on both sides of that family heard the same word. Second lens, Jaidyn's foreclosure claim. She said on stream that Blueface's house is in foreclosure, that he was texting lawyers about bankruptcy from her phone, that the new house they've been promising since he got out, nearly a year, doesn't exist. Sign a lease and you're in. We've gone through how many months, and you're still not in. Now, allegedly on all of this, no public filing has surfaced confirming foreclosure as of this recording. But notice what she did. She didn't argue morals. She argued solvency. In a flex economy, that's the kill shot. Because the flex economy runs on one currency, the appearance of liquidity. Chains, cars, houses, birthday parties, jewelers on speed dial. Every asset is a broadcast. And in that economy, the deadliest attack is not moral, it's financial. Anybody can call a rapper a bad father. That's Tuesday. But calling a rapper broke, calling the mansion a rental, the lifestyle a lease, the checkbook a ghost, that's the shot that lands. Because that shot threatens the product itself. If the flex isn't real, the audience recalibrates the whole persona. And notice the specificity Jaidyn dropped. Not vague broke shaming. Actual mechanics, foreclosure timeline, lawyer texts, a house that's been coming for months. That's not the vocabulary of somebody guessing. That's the vocabulary of somebody who was in the paperwork, or standing next to somebody who was. Whether the paperwork exists in a courthouse, yet is a separate question. The reporting hasn't confirmed a filing, but the specificity of the accusation is what makes it stick. She didn't say he was struggling. She named a mechanism. And here's the twist inside the twist. The claim she was texting lawyers from her phone, allegedly, means she is a witness to the alleged bankruptcy discussions. Not a rumor. Not an ex airing dirty laundry. A first-hand phone holder. If that thread of text exists, it exists on a device that once belonged to her hand. Whether it ever surfaces in a legal proceeding is speculation, but the receipts, if real, are chain of custody plausible in a way most livestream accusations aren't. That's why the foreclosure jab hits differently than the Hollywood Boulevard jab. One's an insult. The other one's a subpoena in a party dress. Third, and this one's quiet. Jaidyn said Blueface never told her he can't see the kids, and separately admitted, I never even said, oh, you can never see your kids again. Compare that with Blueface framing that she controls access. Both of them on camera, describing the same broken arrangement in completely incompatible ways. Somebody's version has a hole in it. Maybe both. Which is honestly the most instructive fracture in this whole timeline. Because when two people who shared a bed and a bank account cannot agree on the basic premise of who is blocking whom, one of two things is true. Either the arrangement was never verbal, meaning no lawyer, no order, no written schedule, just vibes, or the arrangement is being actively rewritten in real time, depending on who's on stream. In either case, the arrangement isn't an arrangement. It's an improvisation. And improvisations do not survive contact with a family court judge. Family court judges want documents, custody frameworks, written schedules, visitation logs. The absence of any of those in the public record so far, no filings, no orders, no third-party mediator that either side has publicly named, is itself the story. Two people running a co-parenting apparatus on nothing but broadcasts and hurt feelings. And then there's the fourth lens. The one nobody's zoomed to yet. Timing. Jaidyn said on stream she hadn't spoken to Blueface in nearly 2 months before he started talking about her. 2 months. That's not just a cooling off period, that's a silence. And her breaking the silence right after the replaceable comments is the most legally coherent thing she's done in this whole cycle. Because if a custody question ever hits a real courtroom, she went silent. He attacked her children publicly. She responded. Is a timeline that reads very cleanly on a docket. He's the actor. She's the responder. That's a defense-friendly sequence, and if she's got competent representation somewhere in her orbit, that timeline is already screenshotted. Watch the framing, not the content. The Shade Room played this as relationship spectacle, baby reveals, clapbacks, comment section fuel. Their audience gets a soap opera. Complex, meanwhile, framed the birth almost as a music-adjacent news item. Whack 100's presence, the name reveal, treating the family chaos as an extension of the Blueface content universe. And the Santa Clarita local coverage of the swatting? That framed Blueface as a public safety story, not an entertainer at all. Same man, 3 genres. And this is where you start understanding what media ecosystem actually means. Same person, same week, 3 completely different genres of coverage, 3 completely different reader takeaways. The Shade Room reader closes their tab thinking about a comment war. The Complex reader closes their tab thinking about a discography. The Hometown Station reader closes their tab thinking about sheriff response times. None of them are reading the same Blueface. And each outlet has an incentive structure that shapes which Blueface they write. The Shade Room monetizes engagement clicks. Complex monetizes music industry adjacency and cultural longevity. Hometown Station monetizes local trust and civic relevance. The subject is the same. The commodity is not. That's why the which outlet is honest framing is the wrong question. All 3 are honest in their lane. The dishonesty happens when a reader consumes one and thinks they've seen the whole. Jaidyn understands this, by the way. Her livestream strategy is designed to force the story out of Shade Room lane and into the courtroom adjacent lane. Every foreclosure mention, every co-parenting app implication, every kid's only communication demand is her pulling the narrative from soap opera coverage into legal record coverage. If she can flip the outlet mix, she flips the audience. Now the loudest counter-narrative. And let's be fair to it for one beat. The defense goes, Blueface is trolling. The replaceable line, the Junior naming. All of it is engagement farming. And Jaidyn's response is exactly the reaction the algorithm ordered. There's something to that. This ecosystem has monetized conflict before. But here's where it collapses. You don't engagement farm your children's names. You don't allegedly negotiate a junior suffix around a DNA test as a bit. And per Jaidyn's own account, she hadn't spoken to him in nearly 2 months before he started talking about her. If it's content, why is the silent party the one who got dragged in? Nah, the troll defense dies on the timeline. And a real troll operation, the honest kind, ends when the camera does. That's the whole grammar of it. You bait, you clip, you post, you move on. But the naming architecture here doesn't end when the live stream ends. It becomes a legal name. On a birth certificate. In a school registry. In a passport office someday. That is not a joke operation. Real trolls don't leave receipts in state databases. So that he's just farming defense has to explain why the farm has infrastructure that persists past every camera being off. It can't. Which is why it doesn't. And here's the deeper collapse of the troll defense. If everything is a troll, then nothing can be sincere, which means the official Junior announcement is itself hollow. Which means Nevaeh, who by the peacemaker framing is presenting herself as the sincere party, is complicit in a bit. You can't have it both ways. Either it's all content and nobody's kids are real to the operation, or somebody's kids are real and the content is the mask. There's no third door. The mainstream read, messy rapper, feuding baby mamas, kids caught in the middle. Tragic, repetitive, next story. But hold that for a second, because the real story isn't the feud. It's the naming as asset strategy. Look at the pattern. Krzian reportedly agreed to change her son's name toward Johnathan Jr. territory. Nevaeh allegedly renamed her son Johnathan Jr. after swabbing for DNA. Blueface is building a naming architecture where his name is the prize that mothers compete to attach to their sons, and each Junior announcement generates a news cycle, a reaction stream, a trending topic. The name is the mechanism. Whoever holds the official Junior holds proximity to the brand, the estate logic, the public airship. Jaidyn sees it. That's why her rage wasn't about a middle name. It was about dilution. Her son's name is being replicated and reissued like a sneaker colorway, and she can't trademark a birth certificate. And here's the part that even the more thoughtful takes have missed. The strategy is copied from an older playbook. Look across celebrity family history. The naming of sons after fathers has historically been an act of public legitimization, a way of saying, in the most permanent register possible, this one carries me forward. When a father does it once, it's tradition. When a father does it twice, with 2 different mothers, in a 2-year window, it stops being tradition and becomes a system. Systems have designers. Designers have incentives. The incentive here is attention arbitrage. Each new Junior announcement is a launch, and each launch is monetizable across streams, brand deals, podcast bookings, and reaction content. Blueface is not the first celebrity to do this. He's just doing it faster and in front of more cameras than most. The Krisian corollary makes this even sharper. If reports are accurate that a name adjustment conversation took place around her son as well, then this is now a repeat behavior across at least 3 mothers. Not a rumor, not a coincidence. A pattern with 3 data points, which is the number statisticians start calling a trend. 3 separate households, 3 separate naming events, 1 central variable, Blueface insistence on brand-adjacent nomenclature. That's not a father making sentimental choices. That's a father who has figured out that a name is the only piece of celebrity IP that a mother cannot revoke. And it lands hardest here. Jaidyn's original grievance isn't about jealousy. It's about market share. Her son Javaughn's middle name, the middle name that used to be a private family choice, is being reissued to a new sibling attached to a junior suffix, which functionally overwrites its uniqueness in the family estate. In a family with music royalties, publishing splits, potential estate claims, likeness rights, and a father whose brand is the last name registry itself, the junior isn't a term of endearment. It's a claim. And claims in law get adjudicated by who filed first, who documented what, and who can afford the lawyers to litigate the ambiguity. Jaidyn is not raging at Nevaeh for a name. She's raging at a father for what the name implies about the ledger. And the opposition jabs land hard from here. Nevaeh positioning herself as the encouraging peacemaker while reportedly agreeing to a name swap mid-DNA discussion. That's choreography. Blueface calling kids replaceable while flaunting a newborn. That's not a father talking. That's a man doing inventory. And Jaidyn, I'm my own team. Energy hits different when she's the one who let him use her phone to text bankruptcy lawyers. Allegedly, she's not outside the system. She's a founding shareholder, which is the honest read on this whole cycle. Nobody in this triangle is on the outside. Every one of them is a stakeholder in the same operation. Nevaeh's newborn is now a public figure before he can hold his own head up. Jaidyn's kids are already searchable. Blueface's kids from all 3 mothers exist as content shells before they exist as autonomous humans. The system needs everybody in it to keep working, which is why the peacemaker framings and the team of 1 framings and the moved on framings all fall apart under 3 seconds of pressure. Everybody's in the group chat. There is no group chat with an outside. One more thing. Where does this leave 3 children who'll be able to Google all of this? Yeah, sit with that. Really sit with it. Because a decade from now, Javaughn hits an age where he types his own name into a search bar for the first time. And the first 50 results are live stream clips of his father calling him replaceable. Journey types her name in, and the first result is a shade room recap of a birth she wasn't invited to. Johnathan Jr. types his name in, and the first result is his older brother's mother explaining that his birth certificate was a strategic renaming. That's not a hypothetical scenario. That's the SEO tale of the current moment. Search engines don't age content out. They rank it. And a moment as loud as this one gets ranked forever. There's not a therapist in Los Angeles County who has not seen the front end of what this kind of digital archive does to a teenager. And that's the residue, not the beef. The archive. Watch how the next 90 days play out. The most likely path. Jaidyn files for formalized custody terms. She's already publicly stated she wants kids-only communication, and that's a co-parenting app paper trail waiting to become a court exhibit. Blueface keeps performing provider on stream while the alleged foreclosure question hangs. If even 1 document surfaces, a lease pendens, a filing, her entire rant retroactively becomes testimony, because that's the mechanic that flips a live stream into a legal document. A statement made in public before any complaint is filed and later corroborated by a courthouse record becomes a contemporaneous statement. Contemporaneous statements are useful because they're made before litigation motive can be established. If Jaidyn said on stream in August that the house is in foreclosure and a lease pending surfaces on the same property in October, her August stream is no longer venting. It's evidence, established before the incentive to lie could exist. Whether her lawyer files it as such is a separate question, but the raw material is there, time-stamped, cached, and clipped across 17 reaction channels. But don't be shocked when the table flips. Another name change. Krazian's side has already moved once on the Junior question. The precedent is set. The leverage is proven. If Blueface dangles official Junior status like a rotating title, expect at least one more mother to make a public play for it. And each one resets Jaidyn's fuse. There's also a shadow version of this future that nobody in the ecosystem wants to say out loud. So let's say it. The official Junior architecture creates a competitive incentive for future mothers to bring paternity claims forward, on camera, with naming demands attached. It gamifies motherhood as a category. Each new claimant is a headline. Each headline is a stream. Each stream is revenue. That is the end game of a naming as asset economy. The asset needs a queue. And a queue means more claimants, which means more children born into the same monetized fog. That is not a prediction. That is a forecast built from the same behavioral loop that produced the last two Junior events. And in 90 days, watch for one more character to enter, Whack 100. He was publicly involved around the August 18th birth. His media presence in the Blueface universe has historically been managerial, but managerial with rap industry teeth. If custody becomes litigation, expect Whack, or someone like him, to reappear as a public voice for Blueface, filtering statements, sanding down the replaceable line into a more legally digestible framing. When a manager starts publicly defending a client's parenting record, the story has entered a new phase. Watch for that. And 5 years out, the residue isn't the beef. Nobody'll remember the live stream. The residue is 3 kids with overlapping names and a searchable archive of their father assigning them replacement value. By the time Javaughn, Journey, and Johnathan Jr. are old enough to read the comment sections, the family group chat will already be a courtroom exhibit. Expect the first tell-all interview from this generation before 2035, and expect it to outsell anything Blueface ever recorded. The failure prediction, stamped. Blueface co-parenting structure collapses into full no-contact litigation within 18 months. And the price match clip becomes the exhibit every family lawyer in Los Angeles plays in CLE seminars. Because price match isn't just an ugly quote. It's a category admission. In a custody hearing, opposing counsel does not need to prove a father's intent. They only need to prove the father categorizes his children in a certain way. Price match is that categorization on video, in his own voice, with a timestamp. It is the single cleanest piece of demonstrative evidence any family attorney could dream of. And the only reason it isn't in a filing yet is that no filing yet exists. That gap closes on its own timetable. Jaidyn's silence, her 2 months of not speaking to him, is not weakness. It's a witness's evidentiary discipline. She stopped generating counterclips. That's what witnesses do when they've been briefed. The internet keeps the receipts. The kids keep the names. Remember which one lasts longer. If you got the real version here, run it back. Drop your take in the comments. I read everything. Fight me if you disagree. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Because the moment of filing hits a docket in this saga, we're live with it. Next one's already cooking.